Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara. I'm in the state of Tennessee, Zone 7B. Today is beautiful outside. It's about 48 degrees, but the sun is out, and that's what's making it so beautiful. For the last week, it's been in the low 40s as the high, but it's been cloudy every day, and wind has been whipping. But today, the sun is out, which means I'm in the tunnel, and I'm excited because it's almost like a restart. I am doing seeds again. So I'm going to take you in the tunnel. It's warm and toasty. There's like 90 degrees in there. And for the past week, because the sun has not been out, it's 40 degrees outside, and it's been 40 degrees in there. So starting seeds has been on my to-do list all week long, but y'all, I just couldn't do the 40 degrees. So I looked at the forecast. I'm like, when is the sun coming out? And that's when your girl can come out. Okay, so let's go in the tunnel and let's talk about what we're gonna do today. It's quite warm in here. It's like 90 degrees, but I'm not complaining at all. So today is like a restart. So I'm starting seeds, not for the summer. We're not there yet. But I'm restarting seeds of all of my fall crops, or the majority of my fall crops that didn't make it or that I've already harvested. And so if you've been following me, you know that we had a mystery animal that kind of wrecked all of my cabbage and all of my broccoli before I got a chance to harvest it. So I'm definitely replanting those. So I guess you could also call this a spring planting, so to speak. Because I'm in a tunnel, I can go ahead and start now, versus traditional spring planting probably starts, I guess, in another month or so in my zone. But because I'm in a protected environment, I can go ahead and start my seeds now and put them in the ground, and it won't be a problem. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is a lot of the fall crops. I'm going to do bok choy, spinach, lettuce, cabbage, and broccoli. And carrot. I'm going to do carrots. Now, the animal did not get all of our stuff, but like our carrots, we had a beautiful carrot harvest, but all of those have been harvested. So I'm going to do another second planting of those. And then we had tons of bok choy that we harvested as well. We've been eating on, but all of the bok choy is gone. So I'm going to redo some of that. But the things that got eaten up were the cabbage, the cauliflower, and the broccoli. And my cabbage, y'all, it was so beautiful forming a head. The leaves were gorgeous. It just started forming a head when it got all eaten up. And my broccoli was beautiful as well. So we're going to try again. Now, because I don't traditionally do quote unquote spring gardening or spring planting, meaning a lot of times in my zone, you would probably put things out in like late February or March and let them go until like maybe end of May or June. And that's kind of like your spring planting. You can get another crop in. I did that 2 years ago. It did not work out well for me because as soon as it gets hot here, the bugs start to come out and the pest pressure ramps up really, really quickly. So me putting cabbages in the ground in March and trying to harvest them at the end of May and 1st of June did not work out for me because they were eaten up, right? And so I'm doing mine now. And again, most of these things that I am planting have, I would say, between a 65 to 90 day maturity. So that's going to put me right at, what is that? Right around the first part of April for the most part in terms of the extent of it. And then once that's done, my attention will be turned to summer, right? So in my mind, I will be doing these seeds now and getting them in the ground as soon as they're ready to have one more final harvest before the summer hits. Now, the only exception is lettuce. I will continue to do lettuce, ever so often. Usually in the summertime, I do lettuce every couple of weeks, but I'll probably do like once a month. So anyway, that's what we have going on today. I will take you around and see some stuff in the tunnel and just see kind of what happened since the last time we were in the garden. Also, to give you an update on the mystery animal, the last update was we had caught 7, and it's been at least 3 weeks and we have not seen anything else. So we were gone for a week and a half on vacation. Nothing was in the traps when we came home. We left it a few more days, and my husband has now taken up the traps. And so I pray and hope that we are good to go, fingers crossed, right? that the animal is gone. But we had the traps out for 3 weeks and we never caught anything else. So we're going to restart again, right? And sometimes you have to do that. You have to just restart again. The other update I wanted to talk about was I had a lot of you asking me, was I going to change my soil in my beds? And I was saying on the video, I don't know, I'm going to do some research. And so here's the final answer. I'm not changing the soil in my beds. I did a lot of research. I did not see where voles, moles, any of that contaminates the soil to the point where you can't use it. And then I also had a lot of you comment, which made sense to me after I read it, is that if I was doing this in my in-ground garden, I couldn't change the soil out there, right? And so I can't, that doesn't make sense for me to change the soil in my beds, right? So where we have some like indentations, like where the, they had kind of like made a hole or I had traps, I will supplement that, not supplement, but cover that back up with some new soil and level it out. And then we'll just replant again. So y'all, let's get to it, okay? Let's get to it. So first, let me get some trays and all of that. I already got my seeds ready to go. So let me get some trays and let's get this party started. Okay, y'all, so I got my trays filled with dirt. I've also watered the soil. When I'm starting seeds, I like to have my soil already moist. And then, of course, I'll re-water them after we get the seeds in there. So I'm using these 6L trays from Epic Gardener. Look at that pretty pink color. Isn't that beautiful? I love pretty stuff, y'all. And I'm pretty sure it's going to grow better, too. What y'all think? I think it will, just because it's pretty. And so I have it in one of these 1020 trays from Epic Garden. It's my first time trying it. This is a shallow tray, but you can see like it is sturdy, like it will not bend. I can't even bend it if I tried. It is very sturdy, so the quality feels great. So I'm excited to try this out. And then the other thing that I have is my what I always use is the Bootstrap Farmer 2.5-inch cups, and it's in a 1020 deep tray. So we have 72 in the pink, 32 in the black. So that's like 104 plants. And I think that'll get us what we need for the for our next set of planting. So basically, and I'll walk you around, but this is mostly for the stuff that's going to be in ground in the back of the tunnel. And then also filling up a couple of these beds. So when I counted, I came out here a couple of days ago to kind of just see how many open holes I had in the in-ground space. And it was like 50, 52, something like that. So this should be good to go. I may do one more tray just to be on the safe side once I count what I need in the beds, but I think this is a good start. So I'm going to get to figuring out how many of each one I'm going to do. So I started with bok choy. Bok choy has been a favorite of ours. I had never had bok choy until I started gardening, and we love it. I use it in my Asian dishes for like stir fry and things like that. It grows really, really well, and it grows really, really fast. So the maturity date, the maturity on it is like 50 days, something like that. So you get you get quick results, and it's very pretty to grow in the garden. So if you've never tried bok choy, I would certainly encourage you to try that. So I think right now, let me keep going, then I may come back and do more, but I think I'm going to do 12 of those so far. Cabbage and broccoli, I'm going to do a bulk of those, and then I'm going to do some lettuce. So let me figure out how many I'm going to do of which one, and then we'll get to planting. Okay, y'all, I figured out how many I'm going to plant of each one. So I'm going to do 12 bok choy. We're going to start with that in my little 6L trays. So we're going to do 12 of those. And I have some from last year's Seeds of Change, this kind. And then I also have some baby bok choy from Baker's Creek. So we'll use up the old first. And if we need to open a new packet, we will. Y'all, it feels so good to have my hands in dirt and to be planting seeds. Feels so good. It's been a minute since I did this. I guess probably 2 or 3 months since we did the big fall harvest. But it's like riding a bike. You don't forget. It's nothing like, I mean, the sun is beaming down. My hands are in dirt. We're planting new seeds. And it's a good feeling. A very good feeling. So we had more than enough of those in there. So that is good to go. And then next I'm going to do 24 lettuce. And these are all new varieties to me. I brought this out here, and I also thought I had more lettuce already out here, but I cannot find it because I wanted to use some of that first because it was pelleted seed. And with pelleted seed, you need to use it within a year. Now, I think it loses its effectiveness. I just started pelleted seeds this past year, so it hasn't been a year yet, but I'm coming up on a year this spring that I will have had those seeds. I don't know what happens when you plant it past a year. I don't know if I plant more seeds, it'll germinate better. I'm not sure, but you know I'm gonna test the limits, right? Of course I am. But for the lettuce, I'm doing 3 new varieties and then 1 variety that I'm very familiar with. So the first one I'm doing is Merlot. This is a free seed packet from Baker Creek. So while I have it, go ahead and use it. It came with my seed order. And already I remember why I like pelleted seeds because, you know, lettuce seeds are so small. You got to plant a few because you can't just get just one, right? So, and now the wind's blowing. Okay. That's the thing I like about pelleted seeds is that you can get an individual seed and just plant that when the seeds are so small. Okay, so that's Merlot. Then here are the new ones that I'm trying. I'm trying, this one was a free thing from Baker's Creek in my seed order called Landis. I've never done this one before. It says Landis winter lettuce. So we'll try it. Has anybody ever tried it? Let me know. Put it down in the comments. And I'm just putting like 3 or 4, whatever I can pick up with my little finger. You know, with lettuce, like I said, it's hard. You can't get just one. So, okay, then the next one I'm doing is a romaine called Vivian. I've never done this one before. This came from that botanical interest sale that I found. It says tightly bunched heads with broad, crisp, dark green leaves. Adds a satisfying crunch. You can't beat a good romaine, right? It's like the when I think of lettuce, that's what I think about is romaine. Like that's like the traditional lettuce in my opinion. So yeah. And for lettuce, like I mix lettuces to make a spring mix that we sell to our customers, and that's how I use it at home. I don't usually just get all romaine and bring it in the house and use that for a salad. I mix them all up just like I do for when I sell it. Now every now and then, like if I just want something for a sandwich, I may just come out here and pick a couple of pieces of like a romaine or something like that, but usually I just make a salad mix, and that's what we use for salad. And the very last one I'm trying is Red Sails. This is also from Botanical Interest. It says a fancy buttery lettuce with burgundy tinged leaves. And it's an All-American Selections winner with a long harvest period. So I'm going to try that. And I saw somewhere that this was somebody's favorite lettuce. So I'm excited to try this one as well. I like having the salad mixes because it just gives you a variety of texture, crunch, and just makes for a good salad. And it also makes for a good presentation. So, making, you know, your own like spring mix, so to speak. So Let's see if I can get this open. And I like to mix my lettuces in the garden too. You know, I like to see the rows of the red and the green and not just green lettuce. So all of that to me is very pretty. Okay. So we'll do this, and then we're just going to keep going. And I'll tell you what else we're going to do. Okay, so we got the lettuce done. We got the bok choy done. Let me seal these up. And again, it's so nice to just be able to bring these out to the garden and not have to bring a Walmart bag or my whole bin or something like that. So I'm going to keep planting. So the next thing I'm going to do, I have spinach. I'm doing 12 spinach. I am doing kale next. I'm doing 12 kale because I still have kale growing quite well, so we'll just add to the mix. I'm doing 12 collards. I still have collards growing, and you'll see that when I show you kind of like a tour of what's going on. And then I'm doing 16 broccoli and 16 cabbages. So I'm going to keep doing this, and then we'll spray everything down, and we'll feel checked off the list that we got our seeds restarted. Oh, let me tell you this on the spinach. So I've said this before, but in case you missed it or you're new here, if you're having problems getting your spinach to germinate, first of all, spinach has a long germination window. It can take up to 2 weeks for spinach to germinate. It's not as quick as like a lettuce, a kale, collards, and things like that. So if you've had it sitting for like a week and you're like, okay, something wrong with my seeds, they won't germinate. There's nothing wrong with your seeds. Spinach just takes a long time. But here is what I have found to be a key to getting great germination on spinach, and that is to keep it in the freezer. So spinach does really well, and I've talked about this before. It's called cold stratification. So there's certain seeds that do better if you cold stratify them. That means keep them in a cold place like your freezer, you know, and then when it's time to sow the seed, bring it out and sow it. So it's almost like it tricks the seed to break out of its dormant state, like it is going from cold to warm, right? And it makes it germinate faster. I have proven this for myself with my own seeds. So last year, for the first time, I did cold stratification with lavender. And I did a trial where I did some seeds that were cold stratified and some that were not cold stratified, right? And the ones that were cold stratified germinated quick, much quicker than the other ones, right? Like by a week. So I know that it works. I did the same thing with my spinach. My spinach germinated faster than 2 weeks. So if you're having issues with your spinach germination, try cold stratification. Put them in your freezer for a couple of weeks before you sow them, okay? So these have been in the freezer. I'm doing Bloomsdale, and then I'm doing a new one called Giant Winter Spinach from High Mowing. I've never done this one before. Don't even know where I got it because, yeah, it says last year, 23, 12, 31. So it's just a few days old. But we're going to do that. And then I'm just going to keep doing the rest of these. Okay, guys, I got everything sown. I got it watered, covered, and all that good stuff. So now we just wait. And it's so funny, as I was doing it, I just had this thought, and I have it every time I do seeds. Is this gonna germinate? Like, what if this don't work? Can I really grow seeds? I mean, can I really grow food? I think it's like Gardner imposter syndrome. And then it's like you sow the seed, and this is the worst part, is the waiting. Like, you want to look at them, you just put the seed in the ground, you water them, you're like, you doing anything yet? Anything? Anyway, you guys can relate. I know that you can. So now, let me take you around and show you how things are looking in the tunnel, what's left, since you haven't seen it before I left. And then I'm going to try to get my carrots in the ground. Let me just show you what's going on in the tunnel. Our lettuce bed is looking like it's looking pretty good. You see I have some cilantro growing there in the middle. I took the big cilantro that was out here. I took it out. We pretty much had harvested all the way down. We got some orders for cilantro, so that was good. So I just have that right there, back there growing. I probably should have started some more cilantro seed today, so maybe I will do that another day. But that bed is looking good. The bed right beside it only has spinach in it. Everything else has been taken up. And moving over here, this is the bed that had the cabbage in it that got destroyed. So you can see most of this bed is empty. That's what we're doing seeds for now to refill it. But look at the collards. They are looking great in this bed. And then across the way is the kale. And we also have some spinach growing in there, right there and right there. This kale has been harvested so many times. I just did a big harvest and chop a couple of days ago because we got some orders in. So that's why I'm doing some more kale, just to have fresh kale. But it'll just keep regrowing back. But it's been harvested a ton. This bed here is where the carrots were that we harvested. I'm thankful that we were able to get a big harvest of carrots before they did any damage. But you see this bed is empty. We're going to replant this with carrots. Here is the parsley. It's doing fantastic. They never ate the parsley. And again, we've been able to sell this too for a customer that was juicing. They wanted parsley, and we were able to provide that. So that's great for juicing. And then is also the bed that got destroyed. So it's pretty much empty. You see I got a couple of green onions growing there. And then I have one row of carrots that are slowly growing there, and that's pretty much it. I need to kind of weed this bed and cultivate it and get it ready for some new plants. This bed is doing good. These are snapdragons that come spring, they're going to be gorgeous and beautiful. But snapdragons is one of the few plants that can withstand the winter temperatures. It's been as low as 20 degrees outside already, and these are just fine. And you also see my Dusty Miller is beautiful and yet hanging on. I don't know that I knew that Dusty Miller could survive, but apparently it does, because it's doing just fine. This is going to be really pretty in the spring. Then you have our 2 rows of collards that look fantastic. So this is a plus. This first row we've harvested already a ton. The second row has not been harvested because we planted that a little bit later, so it hasn't had its first harvest yet. You can see it's a little bit smaller than this right here. But overall, it looks great. Is a row of kale that still looks good. You can see that there, coming along nicely. We have some open spaces there that had broccoli in it that was kind of destroyed. This whole third row, middle row, is pretty much completely empty. So some of the seeds we did today, that's what's going to go in this row here. And let me walk you over to the cabbages. These cabbages are looking good. These are the only ones that I have left. I think I have 5. So the heads are small, but they look great. Let me know if you have any tips about getting the heads bigger. And I know that some cabbages don't grow as big as others, but this is where I always, I tend to mess with, like, that looks really good. So I'm happy about these 5 cabbages right here. These are some more collards that are growing well there. They were isolated. This is bok choy. And then that's that middle row. That's just broccoli rabe going to seed. I just let it go to seed and just let it be. But like I said, you can see that whole middle row is empty. So it's definitely not as full as what I had planned at this stage of the game or what I'm accustomed to, but I still have food. So if I had to come and eat today, I could pick me some collards, some kale, lettuce, cabbage, and we can eat. Sometimes one of the ways I've messed up on my cabbage is I'm trying to let it get bigger, and then I come out here the next day and it's split or something has eaten it. So I still want to get a little bit bigger. I could pull one now that has like, you know, a pretty decent size, but the rest of them are pretty small. And so I'm going to look up and see, is there anything I can do to make the heads go bigger? If there's a certain nutrient that makes the heads get bigger. If you have any experience with cabbage growing big ones, let me know. I'm not for sure which variety it is. I think it's Copenhagen, which is a new one. And that's what I actually just sowed again when I started my seeds. It's either that or Golden Acre. And I know, again, some varieties are bigger than others. So I probably need to look up and see what size they're supposed to be if it's a Copenhagen, but I can't be 100% sure that that's the variety it is. But anyway, I'm glad I have cabbages. So all hope is not lost. It's not as full as I had anticipated at this point in the game. It's not as full as it was, but we still have food. We still have food. And again, if we had not traveled to like Australia and been gone for so long, I was already going to do a second succession in November, but it got to be too busy. We were back for a couple of weeks. We were really busy, and then we went out of town again. So that's life. That's the way it happens. But I'm going to go ahead and prep this carrot bed to redo my carrots. Okay. Moving on to plan B. So as soon as I got ready to turn you guys around and show you me prepping the carrot bed, the thing that holds my phone on the tripod broke. So I'm not gonna be able to show you that because I don't have anything to hold my phone up. So anyway, I'm gonna end this video now, but basically I'm gonna prep the bed and put some nutrients in it. I'm using a new product. I'll show you maybe in a future video. I'm using a new product from Redmond's that I'm excited to try, so I'll show you that the next time around. And I'm gonna be planting Bolero carrots, which are the pelleted ones that I did before. And so, yeah, you guys saw me do that before. So I'm going to end this video. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. It's a brand new year. I hope that you're encouraged, that you're inspired to get planting and growing food. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.